Welcome to Campbell Anatomy. I am Samson Victor, and the topic before us is the brachial plexus. The brachial plexus is one of the important topics of the upper limb. So I want you to pay a very good attention to everything we are going to be discussing today. And by the end of this tutorial, you should be able to describe what the brachial plexus is, the formation of the brachial plexus, the branches present in the brachial plexus. Let's go right into it. The brachial plexus is a network of nerve that supplies the upper limb. It starts from the neck and extends to the cervical-axillary canal into the axilla. The cervical-axillary canal is just like a passageway on the apex of the axilla. It is through this canal that the brachial plexus crosses into the upper limb. Now, what exactly is the brachial plexus? The brachial plexus is a network of nerve supplying the upper limb. It begins in the neck, like I said, and extends to the axilla, originating from the lower cervical and upper thoracic spinal nerve. Just simply say that it originates from the last four cervical spinal nerve and the first thoracic spinal nerve. These spinal nerves are otherwise known as the anterior or ventral rami of the spinal nerves, ranging from C5 to T1. It provides both motor and sensory innervation to the upper limb. Now, let us talk about the parts of the brachial plexus. The brachial plexus consists of four different parts. Now, number one is the root. Secondly is the trunk, which divides to form the divisions. Then the division, which is the third part, gives rise to the cord that finally gave terminal branches. The terminal branches are now the nerves that supply the upper limb. So what did we say? We said it consists of four parts: the root, the trunk, the division, the cord, then which give rise to the terminal branches. Now, let us address the root of the brachial plexus. The root is from the ventral or anterior rami of the spinal nerve C5 to T1. That is, it starts from C5, C6, C7, C8, and ends at T1. C5 to C8 are the lower cervical spinal nerve, while T1 is the upper thoracic spinal nerve. It is now from this root that all other parts are formed. So the root converges to form the trunk diverges to form division converges to form the cord now diverge to form the terminal branches. This will now take us to what we call the formation of the brachial plexus, starting from the root. Now we have discussed what the root is, and we said it came from the spinal cord as the anterior rami of spinal nerve. Now, let us describe how the brachial plexus is now formed progressively from the root down to the terminal branches. You remember that I said that the brachial plexus is formed by converging of the root, diverging of the trunk, converging of the division, diverging of the cord to form one another. So one converge to form the other diverge to form the next, then the next converge to form the next one, and so on like that. So now let us follow it systematically and see how it goes. Now that we have learned about the root of the brachial plexus, the next is the trunk, the formation of the trunk. Now, the trunk is formed by joining the roots together. Like for instance, C5 and C6 are added together, they converge together and form what we know as the superior trunk, as displayed in this image now, as displayed in the video. So that's the superior trunk. Is formed by C5 and C6, which comes together and form the superior trunk. So that is the superior trunk over there, superior trunk. Now, the next thing is the middle trunk. The middle trunk is formed by C7 alone. Is formed by C7 alone without joining with anything. So That is the middle trunk, and it is formed by only C7. No other nerve root is joining to it. Now, the next thing now is to form the middle trunk, the inferior trunk. Now, this inferior trunk is formed by the convergence of C8 and T1. C8 and T1 comes together to form what? The inferior trunk, just as displayed there. So, how many trunks do we have now? We have 3 trunks. The superior trunk, as you are seeing it, the superior trunk, the middle trunk, and the inferior trunk. Now, having formed the trunk, the next thing is the division. How is the division formed? Division is formed by the divergence or splitting of the trunk. Now, superior trunk split into 2. It's split into 2, as you can see, that Y-shape splitting. That is from the superior trunk. As you can see, the superior trunk split into 2 now. And these 2 splitting have names that they are called. They have names that they are called. Now, this first one here is called what? The anterior division of the superior trunk. So this is the anterior division of the superior trunk. Now, the next division now, that other arm is known as what? Posterior division of the superior trunk. So that is the 2 major division. That's only 2 division of the superior trunk. Now, the next is the middle trunk. How is it divided? It's also divided into 2, like a Y shape again. Now, one goes up, one comes down. This is the anterior division of the middle trunk. So, as you can see now here, as you can see it there now, that is the anterior division of the middle trunk. So, this other one is the posterior division of the middle trunk. Can you see now? We are getting the divisions. We are getting it. Now, for the inferior trunk, we have division for it also. It goes forward like this and split again into 2, which is anterior and posterior division. And this right here is the anterior division of the inferior trunk. That's the anterior division of the inferior trunk over there, and it is still going forward. So the other arm again is what? Is the posterior division of the inferior trunk. That's it. The inferior trunk goes forward and split into 2, posterior and anterior, as you can see now in this image. Okay, let's go forward. That's superior trunk, anterior, posterior division, middle trunk, anterior, posterior division. Next one is the inferior trunk, which is also split into anterior, posterior division. You get it now? Now, in order for us to form the next thing, which is the cord, we have to join some things together and also leave one thing alone. Number 1 is that we have to join the anterior division of both superior and middle trunk together to form the lateral cord. Then we have to join the posterior division of everything together to form the posterior cord. Then we have to leave the anterior division of the inferior trunk alone so that it can form the medial cord. Let's go into it now. Now, the anterior division of both superior and middle trunk will come together to form the lateral cord. As you can see it here now, that is the lateral cord. Okay, let's go on. Now, the next thing is the posterior division of everything. Posterior division of superior trunk, middle trunk, inferior trunk will come together. Like you are seeing it like this. Posterior division of superior trunk, posterior division of middle trunk, posterior division of inferior trunk. Yes, they will now come together at this center here and go forward to form what? The posterior cord. That is the posterior cord. Now, let's proceed. The next thing now is the medial cord. The medial cord is formed by just one thing, and that is the anterior division of what? Inferior trunk. So, that now gave us what? The medial cord. Exactly as you are seeing it like that. Okay, let's proceed forward. Now, we have successfully navigated our way through the formation of the cord. Now, the next thing is the terminal branches. Mind you, we have two types of branches, terminal branches and the collateral branches. This is first the terminal branches. Let's talk about the terminal branches. The first terminal branch came from the lateral cord, and it is known as the musculocutaneous nerve. That is number one. Musculocutaneous nerve came as number one branch of the lateral cord. Now, the second branch of lateral cord, we'll talk about it later. Calm down. Let us go to the next one. Now, the next nerve you are seeing here is referred to as the axillary nerve. That is the axillary nerve. Now, this axillary nerve comes from the posterior Posterior cord. Now, the posterior cord still gave another branch. The second branch, which is next to the axillary nerve, and is known as what? As the radial nerve. That is the radial nerve. Good. Now, the next thing is the second branch of the lateral cord, which is what? Which is going to be joining the first branch of the medial cord. So, look at it, pay attention. The medial cord branch, the lateral cord branch forward to the musculocutaneous, then goes down to join the upper branch of the medial cord to form one nerve. And that nerve is what? The median nerve. That is the median nerve. So now, the second branch now of the medial cord is now the last thing, and it's known as the ulnar nerve. It's known as the ulnar nerve. That is the ulnar nerve. So those are the terminal branches that we have. The terminal branches we have. Okay. Now, I told you we have how many branches? We have two types of branches. One is the terminal branches, then collateral branches, and they are found based on the part of the brachial plexus. Some are found on the root, some are found on the trunk, but in the division, there is nothing found in the division. Then the rest is found on the cord. Now, let's start from the root. There are 4 collateral branches originating from the root. So, number 1 is found on the C5. So, and it is the dorsal scapular nerve. The dorsal scapular nerve is found originating from C5. Now, the second is the branch that forms the phrenic nerve. After that, we have the nerve to longus colli, and it is found originating from C5, C6, C7, and C8. Those are the nerve to longus colli. Lastly, we have a nerve called long thoracic nerve. It is supplying the serratus anterior. It is also originating from C5, C6, and C7. Lastly, the first intercostal nerve is part of the nerve we can find on the root of the brachial plexus, and it originated from the T1 nerve root. So, we have the first intercostal nerve originating from the T1 nerve root. So that is all about the collateral branches of the brachial plexus that we can find on the root. Moving on, we are going to be touching the ones that are present in the trunk. Now, for the trunk, we have 2 collateral branches, and the 2 collateral branches are found on only one, and that is the superior trunk. So, meaning the middle trunk and the inferior trunk does not have a collateral branch. So, we have number 1, the suprascapular nerve found on the superior trunk of the brachial plexus. The next collateral branch is the nerve to subclavius muscle. After these 2 collateral branches, there are no other collateral branches again on the trunk. So, and the only trunk carrying a collateral branch is the superior trunk of the brachial plexus. Now, the next part to address is the division. The division does not have any collateral branch. So, off to the cord. On the lateral cord, we have just a nerve there. The first nerve we have on the lateral cord is known as the lateral pectoral nerve. Lateral pectoral nerve that supplies the pectoralis major muscle. So the lateral pectoral nerve is found on the lateral cord, and it supplies the pectoralis major muscle. That is it there. It's going to the lateral cord. So it is originating from the lateral cord of the brachial plexus. Now, the next is the posterior cord. The posterior cord, that's the posterior cord. And on it, we have 3 collateral nerves. And number 1 there is the upper subscapular nerve. The upper subscapular nerve is attached to the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. That is, it originates from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Then after this, we have the middle subscapular nerve, which is also known as thoracodorsal nerve. It also follows the first one. Now, after this one, we now have the last one, which is the third nerve, and it's known as the lower subscapular nerve. Lower subscapular nerve. The upper subscapular nerve supplies the superior portion of the subscapularis. The lower subscapular nerve supplies the inferior portion of the subscapularis muscles and the terrae major. The thoracodorsal nerve supplies the latissimus dorsi. The next is the medial cord, and it has 3 collateral nerves. So the first one is the medial pectoral nerve, which supplies the pectoralis minor and the sternocostal part of the pectoralis major. So that is the medial pectoral nerve and what it supplies. The second one is the medial brachial cutaneous nerve. The medial brachial cutaneous nerve supplies the skin of the medial side of the arm. The skin of the medial side of the arm. The next one is the medial antebrachial cutaneous nerve, which supplies the skin of the medial side of the forearm. The skin of the medial side of the forearm. Okay, so now these all together are the collateral branches of the brachial plexus. Now let's talk about one last event that occurs at the nerve root. Now there's something we call prefixed. That is, originally it starts from C5. The brachial plexus starts from C5. But during prefixed, C4 is added from above. That is, there is C4 joining the nerve root. C4 will join the nerve root and it will become thick. It will become thick. That is during prefixed. That's during prefixed. But T2 will be completely absent. That is, it ends at T1. The brachial plexus ends at T1. The root ends at T1. Now, T2 will not be present during prefix. It will still end at that T1. So we will have C4 and T2 will be absent. That is during prefixed. Now, after prefixed, the next is postfixed. Postfixed. Now, during postfixed, some things happen as well. And the first thing that happened is that, originally T1 is there. Then that T1 will be maintained. It will be large. The T1 will be there. Now, after the presence of this T1, T2 will also be present. Originally there was no T2, but this time T2 will be present. Will be present as part of the nerve root. Now, after this, you see the initial C4 that was added above will be absent this time. C4 will not be there at all. Now, because T2 is now part of it, from under, you see the original C5 above will be reduced. The C5 will be reduced. It will not be normal anymore. It will be reduced. So these two things are what happens. Postfixed and prefixed. Postfixed and prefixed. So this is it. Again, T1 will be large. T1 will be large. T2 will be present. And C4 will be absent. C5 also will be reduced. So now we have successfully come to the end of the tutorial on the brachial plexus. However, there is a part which I'm going to release soon, another video, and that is the clinical correlate, that is the clinical application of the brachial plexus. That is where you see clinical conditions such as the Klumpke paralysis and Erb's paralysis. So, and all these paralysis occurs due to the disconnection of the root, either from above or from below. So these are the clinical correlates that we will address later in another video. So this video is all about the formation of the brachial plexus, and to talk about the general things about it and the terminal branches, the collateral branches of the brachial plexus, including the occurrence or the variations that occurs at the root level, which is the post-fixed and the prefixed. I am Samson Victor. Thank you so much for watching. Do well to subscribe and do well to follow us. Thank you so much. God bless you. See you later.